Good morning, everybody, and welcome
I'm
to
even
another
tired.
episode of Real Talks. My name is David Steele.
Sorry, I
and
interrupted you already.
No, that's okay, and that is what editing is for. And good morning once again. My name is David Steele, and you're listening to Real Talks. I'd like to welcome a special guest this morning. She hails from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She's been everything from a writer to a television producer, even dabbling in modeling for a short time, and eventually landing in promotions. She graduated from the University of Oshkosh, Wisconsin. She graduated from the University of Wisconsin Oshkosh in 2009.
Oshkosh, yeah.
As she said, with a bachelor's degree in radio and television, which helped her land several jobs in television and reporting. But later, her true passion was film, with her first theater experience coming at the age of 3 with The Little Mermaid, hence her social media handle, which let her tell you about in a minute. For the last few years, she's been chasing her dream of being a movie critic, writing about not only films, but streaming. I'd like to welcome Cassie Hager to the show. Welcome, Cassandra. And where can people find you on your all your work?
Yeah, well, if you go to my Twitter, which is at the movie mermaid, I have links. I have my pinned tweet is take you to a website with like all the links of everything. I'm very big on self-promotion. I mean, no one else is promoting me, so right, I might as well.
There you go. No, yeah.
So
that's what it's like.
They are front and center as soon as you go to my Twitter. But I always have to say I let you keep the modeling thing in there because I think I got paid $50 one time to like
there you
model.
go.
Patty.
That's what it was. Was it the hand?
Like,
no,
it was this weird website that I don't think exists anymore, but it sold like really cheap like pantyhose and like high heels. And it wasn't as creepy as it sounds. You know, I was like 20 and I have all my modeling photos I know up on this website. I have no idea how to get them taken down. So I'm just kind of leaning into it, and I'm like, that's okay. Like, there's these really hot pictures of me from when I was like 20 years old, still on the internet, living there forever, and I guess that's fine.
That just tells you what to post and what not to post, I guess.
And if you're gonna post modeling photos, like, remember your password that you made for the website.
If the website crashes, you're in trouble.
Right. So yeah, but yes, thank you for that introduction. It was very nice.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, where to start? You were 3, and so first, tell everybody your handle on Twitter, because that has relevance.
Yeah, it's at the movie mermaid. So, and anyone who knows me, like, in real life definitely knows that I just have, like, a mermaid thing. Like, my friends will call me mermaid. I love mermaids, which is kind of cliche. But I did even before it was cool. I think, you know, like,
yeah,
I liked
absolutely.
mermaids before they were a thing. But yeah, I have an affinity for mermaid culture, if you will.
So the very first one you saw was age 3, The Little Mermaid, huh?
Yes, in the theater. And I don't remember this at all. That's via my parents telling me that. That was my first movie theater experience. But I certainly remember watching it over and over and over again on VHS when I was little, you know.
Nice. That's great. I mean, yeah. I was 2. So, I mean, I was 2, and so my grandmother took me to go see Star Wars.
Yes.
That was... Wait,
which one?
That's going to date me. The very first one, 1977.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome.
I don't remember I've seen it countless times since. I remember sitting in like the first section, the first 3 rows, and I had a stiff neck by the end of the movie. But you know,
well, that's me now going to the movies. If the chair isn't comfortable, my back hurts.
Yeah. No, yeah. So, speaking of movies, what is your go-to? What is a go-to movie for Cassie on a Sunday? Let's say.
You know, since I started doing this and looking at films more critically, it's whatever people are talking about at the time, you know, just because I'm interested in like being a part of the conversation. But if I'm really looking for something that's going to like take me away, like I just want an escape. I love a scary movie. I love a psychological thriller. kind of like the weirder, the better. So I'm also like a solo movie watcher a lot as well, because surprisingly, like a lot of people don't like that kind of movie, which at least a lot of people I know. So I wind up just watching them alone, which is fine. I'm a big, I mean, I can't remember the last time I went to a movie theater with someone else. I'm just someone who, it's watching movies is very personal for me. But yeah, I'm really into the weird.
Yeah, no, it's psychological thrillers are they're one thing. Have you seen Nope?
I have. I saw it.
So what did you think of it?
I liked it. I thought it was really I liked it. I thought it was very different from the last couple things Jordan Peele put out there. It was not what I was expecting, but the sound design was freaking insane. Like that's something that I think if you don't, and you hear this a lot, if you don't see it in the theater, you're not going to get the full experience. But with Nope, I think that's really, really true. Because he did such a good job of setting just this eerie tone. And it wasn't like, I don't know. It didn't change my life. Like I remember when I saw Us in the theater, I walked out going, oh my God, because I loved Us. I thought it was amazing. Which I know is controversial.
No. That was the first Jordan Peele movie I've seen. I did not. I've not seen Get Out, and I've not seen Us. I know I have to sit down and watch it. So yeah,
Get Out is
one of those things. Too. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nope is just it's very good. It's just different. It's not. It's more of a traditional like Hollywood sci-fi, right? Yeah, and I won't say a lot about it because I know a lot of people still haven't seen it.
No, yeah, it's one of those things where
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I enjoyed it. Yeah,
it's psychological thrillers are they're not as popular. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, it's so, but it's one of the best psychological thrillers I think, and it is Silence of the Lambs. I think that's it. It's more of a detective story, but there's a lot of layers to it. So, but it is a psychological thriller to a certain extent because the character of Hannibal Lecter does mess with your mind.
Yeah, no, and I love a good, mind F, if you will.
Yeah,
I won't swear on your podcast.
No, that's okay.
But yeah, okay. I love a good mind fuck. I love a good twist. I sort of after you've seen so many movies, you get really good at to a fault of you can see any twist coming and it kind of ruins the experience because it's oh, I'm too smart now. Yeah. I can just see the end coming.
Yeah. Well, so, yeah, I mean, you get to the point where you can watch a trailer and be like, oh, yeah, okay, no,
right.
I don't want to watch this. Just because.
Right, which is. That's a problem with, some trailers today, too. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. Sometimes they just give way too much
absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, if I can see a film where, maybe something happens where I'm I genuinely did not see that coming, it's I'm very, very impressed by that, and I will be thinking about it for days on end.
Yeah, and I think I think it's about the longevity of it. I mean, that kind of twist, I mean, I think some of the best twists in cinema history. I mean, you take a look at The Usual Suspects. You take a look at, for what, and I keep repeating
The Sixth Sense. I was talking about The Sixth Sense with someone else the other day.
The Sixth Sense, Empire Strikes Back. Nobody saw that.
Yeah, true.
So it's one of those things. So you like streaming, huh? Or what would you rather cover? Streaming because it's in the comfort of your home, or going to a theater?
Dude, I like anything I can get early. I just get so excited at getting, I get a rush of getting things before other people. I just think it's such a privilege, and I think it's so cool. So I will watch anything.
So I don't know if there's Regal by you, but I know I get notifications because I live right down the street from Regal. But they are showing Bullet Train tomorrow.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So I'm probably going to end up going to see Bullet Train tomorrow. And,
Cool. Sorry, my bunny is going crazy behind me. No, that I've seen the Bullet Train trailer so many times in the last 2 months. It's like, okay, I get it. I think I can recite it from memory.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where, I think that's good. I agree with you, by the way, wholeheartedly. I agree with you. So who are some of your favorite actors and actresses, like, whether it was growing up or like you like to watch them now, or?
Favorite actors and actresses. You know what? I feel like I'm more drawn to a good movie as opposed to like the actors themselves. I mean, I always joke online about like Andrew Garfield just because I have a crush on him, but he is a really good actor, and I went to a Q&A with him back in March when I was visiting LA, and it was really interesting. He's just a very interesting.
You said it changed your life.
Human being. Yeah, a little bit, because it gave me a perspective, a focus on, like this is what I want to be doing. I sat there watching this guy interview him, which he said like 2 words. He said nothing because Andrew Garfield just talks and talks and talks. But I was sitting in the audience and I was like, yeah, this is really interesting. And this is what I want to be doing. Like, I want to be talking to these amazingly cool people, and I want to get to know them and like see like how they tick, how their brains work, and talk to them about the industry. And it's cool that this day and age, I can do that to an extent from Milwaukee, where I am now, because that's just the way the world is now. So yeah, it did. It gave me a clearer like purpose. I was like, yes, this is fascinating to me. This is so interesting. And this is the kind of stuff that even if I never like get to do it, quote unquote full time, like make a living or whatever, that's fine. That's fine. Because I love it, and it's I feel very fulfilled since I started down this path. Like,
I feel
like I'm like living. Is. Yeah, I always kind of wanted to, but I just didn't because I didn't know how. And turns out all you have to do is like try and start meeting people. Yeah. It's like really not that hard. Because there's a lot of us out there, and for the most part, everyone is very supportive of each other. And it's a cool little community. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been an awesome couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where if you're passionate about it, I mean, I love movies. I was privileged to, I was lucky when I was 19, I took a film class. It was in high school, but, I saw some of the best movies ever made. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Godfather, The Deer Hunter, and it's going to date me, Shawshank Redemption. But yeah, it's one
movie.
of those things.
Yeah.
And I mean, 1994 was littered with great movies. Pulp Fiction, so it was one of those things. If you have a passion about it, you don't care if the movie is good or bad, because that's secondary. You want to see how eventually, how did they shoot this, or how did they do that, and it's like, wow. So no, I agree with you. It's
and if the movie isn't great, it's about being able to articulate why it wasn't great, and that's it's a challenge. But yeah, it's every movie is a new lesson. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I always say film is subjective. It always blows my mind how people.
All art
absolutely.
Yeah,
you look at a painting different than somebody else, and there's symbolism and everything else. But it always blows my mind, like how people say, "How can't you? How do you not like?" And it's like, because
it's
If you just don't, that's not how it works. I mean. So it's, and I think that's a fandom, and, comic book fandom, and we'll get into this in a minute, is like one of those things where they're very hypersensitive. And if you don't like it, look out. So let me ask you, are you a Marvel gal or a DC gal?
I mean, I'll watch both, but if I had to pick, like, I loved the Batman. I thought it was great. But that said, I mean, I guess I lean more towards Marvel. I was all about No Way Home when it came out. I thought it was so fun and so cool, and then I totally bought into the nostalgia. Like, I knew they were manipulating me with the nostalgia aspect, and I just let it happen. I was like, this is fine. I loved it so much. Yeah. If I had to pick, I would pick Marvel.
Yeah.
I love Spider-Man. Something about Spider-Man. It's just fun.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, John Watts, of course, made 3 $1 billion movies. And it's like, the funny thing about No Way Home is everybody knew a year before with the leaks that they were all coming back. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody knew. They just forgot about it. So when they saw it on screen, I mean, even when it went to, showings, a huge applause. And it's like, yeah. And it was cool the way they did it. And
everyone knew, but just to see it finally happen, come to fruition, was just like a very
I was just going to use that phrase. Yeah,
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
There's just something about it. And just the fact that everyone, was denying, even after the photos were leaked, and they were like, no, those are clearly fake, and blah.
The doctor.
But,
So I gotta ask, you're a big Andrew Garfield fan. Have you seen Tick, Tick, Boom?
I've seen parts of Tick, Tick, Boom. I've never seen the whole thing, and people give me grief about that. Listen, here's the thing. I have a crush on Andrew Garfield. I have not seen every single one of his movies. Oh, yeah. I just have a crush on him.
I will say this much.
There's a difference.
I think I can put on the number of fingers the number I've cried during a movie.
Oh.
I cried. Mm-hmm. Like, I had tears streaming down my face watching that movie. Amazing. Mm-hmm. And it's worth the 90 minutes or 100 minutes or whatever it is, because it's not like it's slow. And the other thing, too, is it's a perspective. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the trailer countless times. It's like on 29. It was based on a real person.
Right. Well, at the Q&A, they played this clip, the song about the Y, something about at the Y. And he, told the story behind it of, like, his mom had just died in real life, so that's why we were all crying at this Q&A. Like, he was crying, everyone was crying. No, so I understand, why, and I do need to watch it. I tend to...
Yeah.
I back away from Lin-Manuel Miranda movies because they're just not my thing, but I know I need to.
No, and
swallow
that's
my
the
pride.
thing. Just take a step back and not even think about the director, because it was just, it was just, and the funny thing is, he didn't even know how to sing.
I know.
I'm sure you know the story. I'm not going to go into the whole Q&A about it, but the whole thing is, he didn't even know. So it was more of like, he called him on the phone. He's like, yeah, I can do it. It's like, oh shit, how am I going to do this?
And he had a really good voice. It must be nice. It must be nice to just be good at everything without even trying.
Well, and that's the thing. Take Bradley Cooper, for example. I mean, he literally had to learn how to sing. And the people that, I love A Star Is Born. I do. The thing is that if you know the story behind the movie, like, for example, he already knew what the last shot of the film was going to be. And, like, the day Lady Gaga was going to perform that song, she actually, I'm sure you know this, she actually lost her best friend to cancer.
I didn't know that. No.
Yes.
That's sad.
And
I didn't know that.
really, really, she's like, before the shoot, she's like, yeah, I need you guys to get me through this. And so when she was singing that song, it was like she was singing about her friend.
Right.
And even
that's exactly the same.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, like, the fact is that even when, even with the scenes without Bradley, even though he's behind the camera and watching everything on set, she was busted up. She was pretty broken up about it because of the enormity of the script. And, I mean, she won for Shallow, and I mean, that's, it's a couple years old, and it's still an amazing song. I think she's going to win another Oscar this year, but I think she should have won Best Actress. And I know it's like,
so?
First time out, rookie. You look at the other competition. I'm like,
Who won that year?
I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, I mean,
remember either.
it was, yeah. So, but I think she's going to win another Oscar for this new Top Gun song. If she doesn't, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Absolutely shocked.
Do you think Top Gun is going to get a Best Picture nod at the Oscars?
Yes.
I've seen a lot of talk about that. I think so too.
And
I hope so.
And well, go ahead and finish your thought, and I'll say what I was going to say.
No, that was my.
No, I think that
the end of it.
I think that one of the major problems. So the story goes back in 2008 when The Dark Knight was made, and it was 5 Best Pictures. It was 2007, 2008, and it got a lot of critical acclaim. A lot of critics said, and it got snubbed for Best Picture. And everybody's like, what? How does that not get nominated for Best Picture after it? And so at that point, the Academy said, you know what? Okay, we're going to put it to 10 nominees. And ever since then, for the last almost 15 years, they've had 10 Best Picture nominees. Now, you look at something like Black Panther, which was nominated a couple years ago. While that made over $1 billion from Marvel and was an amazing movie and culturally significant and everything else, that had a snowball chances in hell to win Best Picture. It did.
Yeah.
And I think that what they need to do is bring it down to 7. That way you have 3 contenders. I mean, all you got to do is look at this year. Coda, which ended up winning, Drive My Car, and then, a couple others. Then you have a couple of dark horses, and then maybe a couple of marketing in there. But 10 is just like, for example, when you go back and look at 1991, another Disney movie, Beauty and the Beast got nominated for Best Picture. Had no chance of winning.
Yeah, and
So
I feel like that wouldn't happen.
Why would
today
you
either.
bump it to 10? I don't understand that.
At that point, it's more symbolic than anything,
Absolutely.
right? Like giving.
Absolutely. And I think that while I think Maverick probably will get a Best Picture nomination, and it's going to look good, they have no chance of winning.
Yeah.
And,
right.
Tom Cruise doesn't give one iota.
Right.
And if you actually want to go back and listen to the podcast we did on Tom Cruise, we talk all about all of his movies and everything else. But it was just one of those things where, and I said it in that podcast, he doesn't care about awards. He doesn't care one bit. He's there to make movies.
No, he doesn't have to.
He had to teach every single fighter, and that's what made the movie so good. There was no CGI. Everything they did in that movie was practical. Everything. And
which is wild. Yeah.
So the fact is that he literally taught them how to shoot the film, because a good, the back half of the third act was all them in the planes. In 1986, they didn't have the technology, so it was wide shots and everything else. But and that one shot you saw was it. They had 6 running IMAX cameras at one time. They shot 800 hours of footage. So, I mean, that's the long answer to your question. The short answer is yes. Will it win? No.
Yes. Right.
And that's and I think that's something that, amongst other things, the Academy needs to address, because it's one of those things where if you're not going to have an opportunity to win, why am I here?
Sure. Yeah.
And I know.
Yeah, that's very true.
And look, all you need to do is take a look at the success of the film. It's the highest grossing film Paramount's ever had. It's made over $1 billion. It just crossed number 8 domestically all time. All time, Cassie. Think about that.
I mean, it brought theater back from dead, which Tom Cruise has done
I would suggest,
before,
before that, though, I would suggest Spider-Man No Way Home did that. And the reason I say that is because that had the third highest opening of all time at $260 million. It made over $1 billion. It's number in the top 5 domestically all time. And if you go back and look at the months that it was at number 1, which I did go back and listen to the whole 2022 report podcast about it for months. It led for 4 months straight.
Yeah. So as far as summer releases.
But as summer releases, you're absolutely right. And Marvel is getting back to Marvel. It's one of those things, they know what and how to do it. They are probably the best movies. I would suggest the best movie studio out there today. I mean, I know that's kind of...
they're certainly powerful. I mean...
Well, I mean, they have their problems.
They hold a lot of cards, that's for sure.
They have their problems. But it's one of those things where they have the ability to pick and choose where they want. They have the ability to run over movies. And and that's the other thing too, is the volume. And I think that if they can make a bad movie, I mean, let's say, I'm curious, did you see Thor? Love and Thunder? Okay.
Haven't. No.
A lot of problems. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a lot of problems.
Okay.
Things that they corrected. Few things. But there were a lot of plot holes. And that being said, that movie opened up to $134 million.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to. I swear, it's amazing. It's like they can do no wrong at this point.
Movies today, and unfortunately, with the saturation of Marvel,
it's so hard to keep up. Can we talk about how hard it is to keep up?
Yeah, no,
it's
absolutely.
like you need to quit your job to stay up to. I mean, because now it's like it's on Disney Plus too, and it's all related. So you have to know what happened in the movies and all the series
and before that
are on
you didn't.
Disney Plus too. And I'm like, I can't keep up with all of this. I just can't. I try.
Yeah. So speaking of streaming, so what if you're going to watch Netflix? So do you like reviewing things just right from Netflix and just because it is from your home and you can do that?
Yeah, I love that. Every once in a while I'll, get like a screener, like an early release. The first one I ever got from Netflix was the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I was really excited, and
they remade that again?
I gave it a pretty positive review, and not a lot of people did, so it was very a humbling experience. I was like, okay, this is one of those times when I'm gonna have to stick to my guns, and this is what I thought about it, unapologetically,
Yes.
Yeah.
I did.
So yeah, I love being able to I've never gone to a pre-screening, a critic screening at a theater before. I wouldn't even know how to go about that. I don't even know if they do that here. I mean, I guess they do, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's one of those, you could do it. It's just a matter of doing a little homework and digging and figuring it out. I mean,
a lot of the time too, I think they're not at very accessible times. They'll be at 2 p.m. on a Wednesday, and it's well, I have to go, make money to pay my rent at that time. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I have a
quote,
real job,
Yeah.
So
I have to support myself and my rabbit. Yeah. We have bills to pay.
Yeah. But it's things in the media, though, I will say this. There is so much saturation with everything. You have Netflix. I'm going to ask you this. How do you keep up? You have Netflix, you have Hulu, you have Apple TV, you have Paramount, you have, I can't even believe I'm going to say Peacock,
Paramount,
but you have all these streams.
Yeah,
How do you keep up?
Either. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I don't. You have to be really. It's one of those things where, like, I feel like I do a lot more research now to, like, try and figure out if a show, especially, is, like, worth my time. Because it's going to be a big commitment to, like, watch a full season. And it's, like, and there are so many options. So it's, like, I don't want to, like, waste my time by watching, like, 2 episodes of a series is 2 hours of my life.
Your time's precious.
So I feel like I do, exactly. I'm a busy woman. So yeah, I look a lot at like what other people are saying, I guess. Yeah. Unless it's something that I'm reviewing, in which case other people will look to what I'm saying, which is daunting, but comes with the territory.
Well, you know what though?
But yeah, I would say that
Go ahead.
I just like I do more research now. I like, am I going to like this? Am I going to? And Apple TV Plus has some of those series that the last year or two have like blown me away. Love Severance, love Servant. Yeah.
But that brings me back to a piece that you wrote back in 2000 about not everybody liking everything. And that brings me back to a piece that you wrote in 2016.
Oh, that's an oldie.
And entitled "Not Everyone Is Going to Like You, and That's Okay." And basically, so I read it.
Yeah, I wrote that when I was anchoring.
Yeah.
When I was
a
news anchor when I wrote that.
Basically, and this is what I was talking about fandom, but like the fact is that not everybody is going to like what you have to say. And, you cannot, you have to, as Michael says or one of them says in The Godfather, it's not personal, it's just business. And so if you're able to separate the professional and the personal, you don't care who's saying what about you. You're just, because it's not about you personally, it's about the content. And
and like you said, it is subjective.
Yeah.
So we will have different opinions.
And so, like, I remember going into I was freshman year in high school, and I was taking this class, and this teacher had or TFD, or a thought for the day, and I've never forgotten this in 30 years. And it said, nobody on the face of this earth can ever make you feel inferior without your permission. Eleanor Roosevelt.
So true.
And
so true.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
And it's... So, you know what? Let them say whatever they want. Because, frankly, they don't know me from a hole in the wall. What, because I didn't like this movie or that? Fine. You don't have to follow me on Twitter. Yeah. You're never going to see me, whatever, or listen to me probably. Fine, go. But that's the thing. Right. And I think that's where, people get very wound up in, oh my God, they didn't like this. What you were just talking about, that new Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You were one of the few people that gave that a positive rating. Yeah. And people were like...
I thought it was fun.
Yeah. And most people are like, what the fuck are you thinking? Come on. So, and that's the truth. So, I mean, I try to... When I go into every movie hoping it's going to be good, but also knowing it may be a complete disaster.
Might not be.
So... Yeah. And I think if you're able to separate that from the actual thing... Oil and water. If you're going to be, this is here, and then, let people make up their own minds. And that's where, some of these people, they follow you, and great, because they like what you have to say. And other people aren't. Okay, no big deal. It's no loss.
And no one's ever been like, I'm lucky, no one's ever been like really mean to me.
No, yeah.
It's always been sort of like playful teasing.
No, and I'm going to say this now, and I haven't had this done to me yet. Maybe it's because this is just audio instead of... just wait. Because you know there's, excuse me for my friend,
Oh, Lord.
there's one asshole out there. There's always one out there. And it's like, you know. And so, you know, I think that, especially with more media out there, with television and streaming, and that's when, you know, but like you said, you've got to now pick and choose what you watch. Because if you don't want to sit down and waste 2 hours. So I got to ask you, are you a Star Wars fan? Do you like Star Wars?
I am. Yeah. I'm not like a super duper fan. Like, I don't know all the trivia, but I've seen all of them.
So I'm
like,
curious. This was just a random thing that happened. Did you happen to see the Endor trailer that dropped today?
No, I haven't.
So there's a new trailer for the show Endor that just dropped today. It was about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I mean, but it's so there's going to be it's going to be 12 episodes. It's going to be I've never heard of this in my life, a 3-episode premiere. And it's like, I don't have any desire. I mean, I'm so Star Wars out.
Hulu does that a lot with their series. They'll release 3 episodes.
Yeah, I have no
at once in the beginning.
Desire.
You're Star Wars out? Is that what you said?
I guess so. I mean,
I don't blame you. Yeah,
because there's been so much content. I mean, between the debacle of The Rise of Skywalker, and then you had the Book of Boba Fett, and then you got Mandalorian, and now this.
Yeah.
I'm
not caught up on the shows.
Neither am I.
Honestly.
I watched the first season of Mandalorian.
I wanted to watch Obi-Wan. And
Obi-Wan? I totally forgot about
that's another
Thank
one
you, Cassie. I totally forgot about that. And it's like, come on.
That's another one where I was like, I want to watch it really bad, but some people were like, it's fine. So I put it off. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't have to watch that one right now. You know what I mean? So that's a good example of like where you pick and choose what you're going to spend your time on. But I love Obi-Wan. I love Ewan McGregor.
No, it had its moments.
Yeah, what were your thoughts on it? Did you watch it?
Yeah, it had its moments. It was only 6 episodes. Okay. It had its moments. Okay. The little girl was amazing. The little guy, I don't know the actress, she was amazing. But, yeah. So, I mean, let me ask you this: what are you? If you were going to go to the theater, what are you actually looking forward to coming out at the end of this year, the fall season? Because I know
I have to think of what's coming out.
The Toronto Film Festival is just happening now, and now we've got a couple of like big names coming out. But I mean, of course, you know, you got the Wakanda Forever trailer, or you know, that's coming out, and
yeah, I was gonna say I have to like Google what's coming out.
So it's one of
I don't even know.
So I think you've got Black Adam coming out in October, and then you have well, of course, the new Avatar is coming out at the end of the year. And,
Avatar.
Yeah, I mean it's.
I don't even know what Black Adam is.
It's a DC. It's a DC IP.
Interesting. I haven't seen anything about that.
Oh God!
Oh my gosh!
Well, okay. Just to rehash a little, so you did know that San Diego Comic-Con happened last week. Okay.
Yes, and I know all the trailers and stuff dropped. I did.
Dwayne Johnson actually came out and did a promo for that, and so they didn't show any footage, but it was one of know. So that came out. Yeah.
I am interested in Don't Worry, Darling.
Yes.
I'm cautiously optimistic. It's billed as a psychological thriller. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No. It
we'll
looks
see.
very. I've seen the trailer. It looks very good. Very, very good. So,
and Olivia Wilde is like really proving herself to be a
book
good
smart
director too. So
yeah, I mean definitely. October 21st is when that comes out. That Black Adam. That just tells you something. Though. if that you didn't even know about that, and that comes out in 3 months, 4 months, that just tells you about the radar. You know, it's like, well, they're keeping this. I mean, DC's a mess, and that's a whole other podcast for another time. But it's just, yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, it's always fascinating to me. What did I just see that got moved back? Oh, Creed 3, actually. That was supposed to be released in November.
Okay.
That actually got pushed back to March. You got to wonder, though, if that wasn't because of that whole Drago thing, that the rumor that was going around that they were going to make a spin-off picture with because of Rocky 4.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of the... It's Dolph Lundgren denied it, which, yeah, I mean, of course, they never talked to him about it. But, yeah, so, I mean, that one you were just talking about her, John Wick's supposed to be coming out in March of next year. Actually, oh my goodness, is this true? They're going to remake The Little Mermaid? No.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a live action.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, they've been talking about that for a long time.
So you must be ecstatic then.
So I will be there. That is what I can confirm. I will absolutely be there.
May 26th.
Opening weekend. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, right after my birthday. Nice little belated birthday gift to myself.
I'm just curious. When is your birthday? Oh,
May
okay,
21st.
Nice.
So I will have seen The Little Mermaid in the theater at age 3, and then again at age 37.
Nice.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Next year looks interesting.
Ugh.
Yeah, there really isn't a lot to come out in the last 4 or 5 months. I mean, there's a few. You got Oppenheimer. I love David O. Russell. I mean,
Oh, right.
you have the Black Adam one, which, okay. You've got Avatar 2, which is dropping at the end of the year. You have, Spider-Man No...
I can't believe they're finally
Oh,
releasing.
yeah.
I can't believe they're finally coming out with another Avatar movie. It's been so long. I never thought it was going to happen.
I think a lot of people are in your boat. Like, I had no idea that this was going to even happen. But, yeah, it's one of those things where I think people... I was honestly I had not seen truth be told, I have not seen the first Avatar. So...
Okay. I saw it once in the theater, and that's it.
I have to actually go back and... I actually have to watch it. It's so... Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna come out, and, you know... I'm curious to see how certain pictures do, because it's going to have a ripple effect for next year. Because, and I'll be like Avatar 2, for example. I'll be curious to see when the next, because he said he had like 3. James Cameron said he had like 3 lined up. I'll be curious to see.
Yeah, we'll be like 80 when the last one is released. Yeah.
Well, no. And I talk about this because, like, for me, you have about 5 years, maximum 5 years of a window. If you don't make a picture
before everyone just forgets.
I mean, you take a look at anything.
Yeah.
And so when a picture comes out, then you have a couple years, and then studio will greenlight the next one. And then they'll write it, shoot it, and it'll take about, 18 months to shoot and do post on and market and everything else, and then put it back out for the next one. But if you don't do that, and that's the thing about this Maverick movie, and I keep going back to it, like the sequel, Maverick, the first one was in 1986. 1986.
Yeah. Came out right before I was born.
And then
yeah.
the second one,
yeah,
this one comes
years.
out this year. There's no way that. But I think the first, number one, the movie had been delayed a couple times because of COVID. They announced it, actually, it's interesting.
Yes, that's true.
They announced it in 2017. And it got delayed again, so.
Yeah. I know some of the footage was shot, because one of my coworkers' brothers is in, like, some of the opening credit footage where they show, like, actual Navy people. There's, like, a part where they show, like, actual Navy. I think it's the opening credits. I can't remember. But he said they shot that in 2018. Yeah. Like, and one of those guys is his brother. But it's been a while.
I mean, it's just, and, you know, you take a look at the flip side of the coin, like, a movie I love. I mean, I love Wall Street all day long. But don't talk to me about Wall Street Never Dies. Horrible. I wasted 2 hours of my life.
Oh, I forgot that existed.
I wasted 2 hours of my life.
Oh my gosh. Wasn't Shia LaBeouf in that?
Josh Brolin, Shia LaBeouf.
I forgot about that.
Michael Douglas. I can't think of her name. I have her, she's in my head, but yeah, it's one of those things where and I tell people, stay away from that. But it really, it really depends. It really, really depends on the content, and that's going to be another whole interesting thing, because Discovery just had a huge merger with Warner Brothers. What are they going to do? They have so many problems right now. They're trying to put out so many different fires, and it's like, I was just on a space with someone the other day. I said, "What?" And this is going back to Comic-Con. That's why they didn't have any footage of The Flash. That movie's supposed to come out next year, Cassie.
Oh, well, God.
They spent $250 million on that movie.
Yeah, what's even happening with that? Are they still releasing it? Like,
they're screwed.
Nobody knows.
That's the simple answer. No, so to answer your question,
have to swallow the cost, I guess.
Answer your question. If Warner Brothers makes any movement, okay, what's going to end up happening is everybody's going to say, well, why are you releasing it? If they don't do it, and they don't have press for it, and, whatever else, it's going to be like, well, what do you do? It's not like we have our own streaming service. And it's going to be, I'll tell you what, it's going to be something like Death on the Nile. That's exactly what it's going to slowly slip on. I mean, it's on IMDb right now, being released at a certain time, but it's going to slowly slip off or something. And people are going to go,
yeah.
It's going to get lost in the woodwork.
I did see Death on the Nile in the theater,
and I loved Murder on the Orient Express.
So it wasn't my idea. Yeah, I've heard that was good. I haven't seen it, but I've heard it's better than Death on the Nile. So I need to, and I know it's like sort of the first movie in that series.
I think the big one everybody's looking forward to, everybody, and I've got to sit down and watch the first one, is the new Knives Out movie.
Yeah, oh yeah. Heck yeah. And that's straight to Netflix, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that was surprising to me.
They could make so much money, Netflix. Because they're in dire need right now.
Yeah.
They are in dire need.
I know.
They really are.
Yes, they
are.
If
they would have put this in theaters, they could make so much money.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's going to be like a limited release in theaters. But yeah, you're right. I don't know how Netflix makes any money at this point.
With the number of subscribers they've lost and the lawsuits that they have.
I know.
And they just laid off another couple hundred people,
I know.
a couple weeks ago and whatever else.
Their layoffs are like savage too. Yeah. I know they moved a bunch of people out to LA like at some point like a year or two ago and then just wound up firing them and wouldn't let them work remotely. They were like, "No, you need to move here."
Well, no,
to
they
LA.
just in Tennessee, I think
let them go.
they just bought a whole building. This goes back a couple of months ago of what story I did in the roundup, and so they said, "Look, we're not going to have you guys move in until 2023. We're giving you a 6-month notice. You're not losing your job, just to let you know it's going to be a bigger building." But that means, too, that, I mean, and all you got to do is take a look at their stock price. At the start of this year, it was over $600. It's $220 today.
Jeez. I don't know much about stocks. But
No. It's just they've had so many calamities that it's very difficult to keep up with. And we're talking about all these movies and everything else, but in the grand scheme of things, if you look at the big broad picture, Hollywood's a mess. They really are.
Yeah. What else is new?
I mean, you must be so nice to be like in your little compact, like I don't have to deal with any of this bullshit.
I mean, I'm certainly very far away from it. It would be nice to be like a little closer to like where it's all happening, but yes, I am. Milwaukee is a nice place to live.
But it's
a lot less drama than
is, like,
LA.
There's just so many problems. And you gotta wonder. I mean, look, everybody has problems. I get that. But, like, whether it's Marvel with their visual effects artists, whether it's the diversity issue, whether it's the inclusion issue of, which is still a problem, whether it's, you got, studios that are dumping millions and millions and millions of dollars into these movies, and then their stars are just acting like dingleberries, and it's like, well, and I mean that's luckily you have a Top Gun Maverick to save theaters, and I'm dying to see. I don't know. Did you happen to? And you probably didn't. But have you taken a look at the new Mission Impossible trailer, Dead Reckoning? Okay.
No.
So
no, I haven't.
This is gonna. I
forgot that was they delayed that one too.
It's gonna come out. Yeah, it's gonna come out next year. But so that's been Tom Cruise's baby for the last 20 years. I mean, he's produced the last 4 movies, and that's what the whole blow up. When they were shooting in one of those cities. Right.
Oh,
exactly.
The
tirade.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what he does, because I have a feeling that this is going to be the last movie. The last, because they're breaking it up into a couple reasons. Number one, they're breaking it up into parts. If you watch when you watch the trailer and it'll say part 1. If you look at any finale, whether it's Hunger Games, whether it's Harry Potter, whether it's whatever, when you see a part 1, it's done. Number 2, I'm really curious to see what he does after. Like, because that was the whole thing. Like, he's been doing this for 20 years. And he doesn't need the money. We know that. He doesn't need the acclaim. We know that.
Right.
He's not gonna let a director, I mean, unless it's Chris McQuarrie, he's not gonna make movies unless he directs, because he needs the power. Like,
I feel like he's gonna be like Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
and just
he might be.
Chill and just be famous because he's Tom Cruise.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Maybe come back for a movie once every 10 years.
I mean, it has to be the right one, though. And the thing is, like, that's why I was so fascinated after Endgame. Because you look at all these stars. Robert Downey Jr., Scarlett Johansson, the list goes on and on and on. What were they going to do after? Like, look at what Robert Downey Jr. did. Doolittle. He didn't need the money because of the deals that he had.
You just don't need to do anything.
But my God.
Yeah.
really? And, so in Scarlett Johansson, yeah, she finally got Black Widow, and that was great to see and everything else, but she's done. And it's like, Scarlett Johansson is one of the best actresses out there. Match Point. I mean, I didn't particularly like Lucy,
Yeah, she
but
has little kids now. I think at a certain point, it's like, if you can just be like, all right, I'm taking 10 years off to raise my kids. Like, good for you.
So
that's amazing. Especially when she was a child actress, right? So she's already worked so much. Like,
So
gosh. Power.
I mean,
More power to everyone who can
no,
do
absolutely.
that.
And you have to build your resume up. You have to build your career up to a point where, look, you can make $10 million for a picture and then walk away for a couple of years.
And then, just fuck off and then come back. And they're like, welcome back.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Here's $20 million.
And Jennifer Lawrence is going to be a perfect example
totally.
of that.
Right.
Because that woman, she just had a child, but she made 3 amazing movies in a span of 6 years. And she won an Oscar for Silver Linings Playbook. American Hustle, she was good in. Joy, I thought she was great in. And it's like, okay.
I liked Joy.
And so, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, she did Don't Look Up, and that was on Netflix, and that got nominated for Best Picture. I don't see how, but okay, fine. Yeah, but that goes back to my point, though, about that had no chance of winning for Best Picture. Why?
Right, yeah.
Why are you going to nominate it?
Agreed.
And so...
Again, it's one of those symbolic nominations.
Yeah, I mean, what you have seen, though, over the past 3-4 years, streaming has just taken over the Oscars.
It really,
Just complete. I mean, Best Picture winner this year, Coda, was from Apple TV. I mean, there were other things there, but it's like, wow. I mean, you take a look at Roma a couple years back. Netflix.
And right now, with the success of Top Gun, Maverick, and everything, I feel like we're kind of in a sweet spot where it's like, okay, maybe these things can coexist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I feel like it's going to be a delicate balance.
Yeah.
Between theaters and streaming, and which are released in the theaters and streaming at the same time, and all of that. It'll be interesting.
The thing is, though, I don't think you'll ever see that. And the reason being is, why would I go to a theater? I mean, we were talking about it earlier, but why would I go to a theater and watch this when I can watch it in the comfort of my own home?
But they did that, though, for a while.
Yeah.
Didn't WB do that for a while? Like, release?
Yeah. So, I mean...
But, like, they won't do that anymore, is what you're saying. Yeah, fair.
Because...
I am shocked at how quickly the turnaround time is, though, for renting at home. Now, like Jurassic World Dominion was available to rent, like, a month after it was released in theaters.
Because of the theatrical window.
Remember years ago? When it would take, years ago, it would be months and months and months.
Do you know what a theatrical window is?
Buy a movie.
Do you know?
I mean, I can...
Okay.
Figure it out. The window of time that it's like only playing in theaters.
So a theatrical window is usually before the pandemic. You had 90 days. A film would be Cassie has a movie. I'm a movie theater. I want to buy your movie. I pay you a certain sum of money to show your movie in my theater. Okay. It used to be 90 days, 3 months, and then that was it. After that, it then went to physical media, which, it took about, 60 days, and then it came out in physical media. Well, because of the pandemic,
right.
What ended up happening was they cut the theatrical window in half. So, it's 6 weeks. So now we're 45 days. So what ends up happening...
Which feels like nothing. It goes by. So
exactly.
I'm going, didn't this just come out?
Exactly. So what ends up happening is that movie that goes from my theater to, let's say, a Netflix or a streaming service or whatever it is, or video on demand, and there you go. And so Netflix, speaking of Netflix, actually bought the rights. They paid Rian Johnson $500 million to do 3 Knives Out movies because of the success of the first one. So that's why they're never going to put it in theaters. But nonetheless, it's one. So the thing is that what you were just talking about, Jurassic World, you just rent that on video on demand. Okay, it was horrible. No big deal. Bye-bye. You know, and that's the thing. And that's why all of these... I mean, I had an interview with Jeff Aiken a couple of months ago, and he actually was... And if you want to go back and listen to that podcast with Jeff Aiken, you can. But he talks all about the theatrical window, and he talks about what he used to do and how these movie clubs... or passes, or cards, or whatever you want to call them, memberships, have completely revamped cinemas. Because it's like a gym membership. So let's say you go to the gym 3 times in a month.
Yeah.
Just hypothetically, you're in that, or, you know, movies or whatever, you're in that sweet spot because you're paying for the membership. And what you're doing is you're getting 10% off all your concessions and everything else. Whereas if you don't go to the gym, like myself... it's a waste of money. Or you have people that go 7, 8, 9 times, and they go see whatever movies they want, and they lose money on those people.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where there's a fine line. So the theatrical window has, while it's been shortened, it does have its benefits. I think that it has its benefits, but it also is detrimental. Like the Batman, for example. The Batman was still making money in the theater, and then it got put on VOD.
Exactly.
Top Gun Maverick is going to get put on VOD, but it's still in the theater. I remember Black Panther, when that came out, okay? That movie was so popular that was on video, and I own Black Panther physically on Blu-ray, and I went to see it in theaters. There was a huge difference. So, I mean, that whole thing about how the theatrical window works, and you'll never see it cut down more than to 45 days, but I think it's good. But it's also had its problems, and it's... I don't think... So, knowing that now, do you think you'll ever see it bumped up to like a 60-day? Or maybe 70 days? Or do you think it's...
I don't know. I'm still getting used to it being 45 days, honestly. But it seems like it's the way things are going now. You know what I mean? It's
been like this for about a year. So, I'm curious, do you own like a membership to like AMC A-List or doing...
I don't.
That's fascinating.
I don't. No, I've considered it, but I should. Yeah. No, I go to the theater maybe once or twice a month now at this point.
Well, it would pay for itself.
Because, you know, I'm always true. I'm always at home watching, indie screeners.
But it would actually pay for itself. Review.
But yeah, you're right.
I mean, because think, and you probably don't know this, but let's say the average ticket is $13. So you're spending $26 in admission. I know here in California, and it's got to be definitely cheaper in Wisconsin, that, like, I pay $23.50 a month for my Regal Pass. I can go to the movies as many times as I want. Now, that being said, if I'm going to go see a Screen X movie, it's $4. If I go see an IMAX movie, it's $6. It's better than $21. So any IMAX movie I see, it pays for itself automatically. Do you have any movie theaters around you, let's say 20, 30 minutes? Like major... Yeah. I mean...
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm in Milwaukee. I'm not on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Well, you know.
I'm in Milwaukee.
See, what had happened was... no. But seriously, that might be worth the... I call it an investment. Because even if you're there a couple times a month, that's like Bullet Train's coming out.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see it on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. I'm probably, by the way, if you want to listen to the spoiler cast, I'm probably going to have that out by Friday at the latest. So, but, you know, you know, I think that and they're first-rate movies. Now, this is probably going to be a better time for you to do it because there's nothing, as we were talking about earlier, there is nothing coming out in the next 3 months. I mean, at least until Labor Day.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man No Way Home is going to get re-released.
Yeah.
And, you know, Avatar is going to get re-released. But, yeah. And then...
Hey, I hate to do this, but I have to be at work in 20
no,
minutes.
you should have told me.
So can we
Yeah,
wrap
absolutely.
this up? No, that's okay. I kind of lost track of time.
No, that's...
But yeah, I have to be at work at noon. I'm sorry.
I would have, yeah.
No, it's fine. No one keeps track, so like no one's gonna know if I'm
Until
a little
the
late,
one
but
time,
I'm
right?
technically supposed to be there. At
Okay,
noon.
so it's always that one time.
I'll be like, I was doing this podcast.
Yeah. By the way, I'm
sorry.
talking to this random guy, and so
I was talking about theatrical windows.
But, quickly, so coming up, we have Flashback Friday is going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Mob Mondays is probably going to start next week, next Monday. I'm got to re-record or record Goodfellas. And yeah, we have that's going to be a $6.99 paywall. What else? Yeah, so that's about it. But yeah, this has been a blast. I'm sorry that she's gonna rush off.
Yeah, it's been
but
super fun.
yeah,
totally
so
fine. I like an hour passed.
yeah,
and
no,
I
I'm
was like,
looking
I
down
have
at
this
the
job I have
clicker
to
too.
do.
So okay, so for Cassie Hager, I'm David Steve.